Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. And if you're a true General Hospital fan, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get started with today's video. According to General Hospital, GH, teasers on Friday, July 10th, Brooklyn Quartermaine Amanda Setton admitted to Harrison Chase, Josh Swickard, that she set up Willow Kane, Caitlin McMullen. Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thiebaud, was also set free after Detective Joe Fitzpatrick, Jonathan Bennett, broke the startling news. When Chase confronted Brooklyn in the Quartermaine house, she admitted to being the mastermind behind Willow's frame-up. Brooklyn did not mention, however, that she was the driver who fled the scene of Jordan Ashford's Tanisha Harper accident. Chase exploded at Brooklyn, but she insisted she was attempting to open his eyes to Willow's desire to have him back. Brooklyn lashed out because Chase kept ranting about Willow's abuse. She felt Willow was what mattered most to him. Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens-Bruning, was furious in Carly Spencer's, Laura Wright, kitchen because Carly had sneaked Charlotte Cassadine, Bluesy Burke, to meet fugitive Valentine Cassadine, James Patrick Stewart, in recent months. Carly revealed her relationship with Valentine and justified Charlotte's visits, claiming she was perfectly safe. Carly also refused to apologize for her efforts to get Jocelyn Jacks, Eden McCoy, out of the WSB, which included going to any lengths. When Lulu witnessed Carly kiss Valentine in the GH parking lot, she realized they were romantically involved. Lulu eventually accused Carly of endangering Charlotte because she needed to keep Valentine in her bed. Carly urged Lulu to realize that attempting to get between Charlotte and Valentine would not end well for her. Lulu, on the other hand, claimed that Carly was doomed to fail with Valentine, as she did with Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros, and Anna Devane, Finola Hughes. Valentine went by GH with flowers and appreciation after Jocelyn's release from WSB custody. Jocelyn claimed she did it so Carly would not be prosecuted for any criminal activity and begged Valentine to deliver a message to Anna. Elizabeth Baldwin, Rebecca Herbst, suggested at Willow's house that Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson, was not improving like Jack Brennan, Chris McKenna, at Turning Woods due to an environmental element in the house. Brennan stated that he had came into touch with a classified drug that caused his illness just before arriving at Willow's house. Jack pretended to have had adequate treatment for that substance at Turning Woods, and he attempted to make it appear that his struggle was completely unrelated to Drew's. When Liz inquired about Drew's communication skills after Brennan had left, Willow again paused. Brennan also went to Jocelyn's hospital room, where she admitted to getting Valentine pardoned. Jack was not pleased and pointed out that Valentine remained a threat to Carly. Jocelyn didn't think Valentine and Carly's relationship would continue long, especially now that she had pushed Valentine towards Anna, which could revive his former obsession. Liesl Albrecht, Kathleen Gotti, approached Anna in her apartment for assistance in clearing Cassius Faison's, Ryan Pavey, name, claiming that Ross Cullum, Andrew Hawks, was the true culprit of the cold fusion experiment. Liesl claimed that Cullum was responsible for Anna's gaslighting and that she had been detained in the same subbasement as Anna, the same one in which Jocelyn and, eventually, Carly were trapped. Albrecht described Anna's writing on the wall and sketched a picture of the chamber. Anna was relieved to learn that she had been held prisoner and not made it up, as her physicians had led her to believe. Despite this, Anna blamed Cassius for his role in the project, assuming he would have known how to manipulate her because he was Caesar Faison's, Anders Hove's son. Albrecht eventually walked away before Anna opened the door to Valentine shortly after. In the PCPD interrogation room, Detective Fitzpatrick questioned Britt about the saline syringe discovered in her room. Britt admitted she was an idiot for believing Cullum's Huntington's falsehoods and doing what she was told to obtain fake experimental drugs. Joe eventually stated that Britt was free to go because the WSB was not pursuing any legal action. Britt didn't have any money or a place to go, so Joe gave her $5 and said she could pay him back later. Ava Jerome, Maura West, confronted Ethan Lovett, Nathan Dean, at the Metro Court pool about what he said in the gallery while wounded. In that vulnerable time, Ethan claimed Phoebe, Luna, and Lucia Creighton was not his daughter, leading Ava to believe he was duping the Quartermaines. Ethan said he wasn't, emphasizing that this was for Phoebe's safety before encouraging Ava to let it go. According to General Hospital spoilers, Ethan's secret could get him into more trouble than he bargained for, so remain with the ABC soap. The tension at the Quartermain home was as thick as the fog that rolled off the harbor in Port Charles. Brooklyn Quartermain paced the magnificent living room, her gaze flitting between the antique furnishings and the cot where her daughter Phoebe slept soundly, unaware of the tempest developing around her. The weight of her secrets weighed against her chest, making each breath laborious. She had built a delicate house of cards over the last few months, desperate to protect her marriage to Harrison Chase, but now those cards were about to fall. Chase entered the room, his investigative instincts acute as ever, his face marked by tiredness and resolve. He had just returned from conversing with Lucy Coe, and everything had finally clicked into place. Lucy's slip-up about being at the Quartermains on the night Charlie's pub reopened, combined with Brooklyn's unexpected transfer of Deception shares, all pointed to his wife. "Brooklyn," Chase murmured, his voice quiet but firm. He gave a quick peek at Phoebe before carefully closing the door behind him. "We should talk. Now." She froze, attempting a smile that didn't extend to her eyes. "Hello, honey. A rough day at the station? Phoebe has been an angel today. Do you want me to warm up some dinner?" Chase didn't buy the deflection. He crossed his arms and maintained a tight posture. "I spoke to Lucy. She told me everything, including how she arrived that night and how you gave her half of your Deception shares. And the statement she made to the PCPD regarding Willow? It was all to blame her for Jordan's accident. Tell me this is not true, Brooklyn. Tell me you didn't do this." The quiet between them was broken only by the gentle hum of the mansion's air conditioning. Brooklyn's shoulders slumped. She had prepared this moment in her imagination 1,000 times, but seeing Chase's dejected expression made it exponentially harder. Tears welled in her eyes as she slid into the couch, twisting her hands in her lap. She finally confessed, I did it, like a dam breaking. I framed Willow. I worked with Lucy to make it appear that she was the one on Route 91 that night. The GPS tampering, the statements, it was all on me. But Chase, you must understand why." Chase's face twisted with shock and rage. He stepped back, as if physically repulsed by her remarks. "Why? Why would you ruin someone's life like that? Willow has been through hell, losing custody fights, dealing with Drew, and the aftermath of the accident. And you blamed your crime on her?" Brooklyn sprang up, her voice rising with urgency. "She wants you back. It's so obvious. The way she stares at you, and how she continues to lure you into her circle. I saw you both together, Chase. I witnessed a link that never truly died. I hoped that if I could show you who she truly is, someone capable of dirty things, you'd see her plainly and choose us. We are a family." Chase paced, running his hand through his hair. "Phoebe deserves a father who is fully present and not distracted by his ex." His voice sounded louder than he intended. "Is that your excuse? Framing an innocent woman to open my eyes? You could have came to me." He spoke to me like a collaborator rather than scheming behind my back like some villain from one of those old Quartermain plots. "Do you understand what this does to me? I am a cop, Brooklyn. I investigate crimes, and my own wife is the perpetrator." The dispute erupted, words flying like daggers. Brooklyn struck out, her anguish becoming to rage. "Keep defending her. Every time her name is mentioned, it's poor Willow this, and Willow's gone through so much that. What about me? What about everything I've given for you? I gave up pieces of myself to be the woman you desired, and she still haunts our marriage." Chase stopped pacing, his eyes burning. "What you did was wrong. It was not simply dodgy, it was criminal. You wrecked her reputation and nearly ended her congressional career. And for what? Jealousy? Insecurity? I believed we were better than this." Brooklyn cried. "I thought you trusted me." She reached for him, but he backed away. "I felt afraid. I'm terrified of losing you. Willow is everything I am not. Polished, political, and the one who got away. I convinced myself that this was the only way to save us." Chase shook his head, his disappointment sharper than any cry. "All you've done is push me farther away. I need time to comprehend this." He stormed away, leaving Brooklyn alone with her guilt and their sleeping baby. She sank to the floor beside the bassinet and sobbed quietly. The disclosure relieved one load, but ruined everything else. She hadn't told him the whole truth, that she was the driver who fled the scene of Jordan's accident, scared and overwhelmed. That secret was still burning inside her, like a ticking time bomb. Across town at the PCPD, a new type of discharge was occurring. Britt Westbourne sat in the austere interrogation room. Her typically fiery temperament faded from weeks of incarceration and manipulation. Detective Joe Fitzpatrick entered with a folder and a tired countenance. He'd been piecing together her case, and the evidence, or lack thereof, had finally shifted in her favor. "Britt," Joe replied, slipping onto the chair opposite her. "Let's speak about the saline syringe they discovered in your room. Why did you inject yourself with it?" Britt gave out a sour laugh and rubbed her temples.
"Why?"
"Because I was a world-class moron. Cullum got in my mind. He convinced me that I had Huntington's disease and that I was going to die. He promised me some experimental treatment if I did what he wanted, which included illegal activities and sleazy trades. I believed him. The injections were part of the charade, keeping up appearances, or whatever bizarre game he was playing. I only wanted to live, Joe. To have more time." Joe listened sympathetically and nodded. He had witnessed enough manipulation in Port Charles to recognize a victim when questioned. "I am sorry you went through that. Cullum's lies upset a lot of people. What about the good news? All charges against you are withdrawn. You are free to leave." Britt blinked, stunned into stillness. Freedom? After everything, fear, isolation, and self-doubt, it felt strange. Free? Just like that? I don't even have a phone or a place to go right now. Joe passed the release papers across the table. "We'll get you sorted. Take care of yourself, Britt. Port Charles has a way of offering second chances, even in the most difficult instances." She stood slowly, legs wobbly, and stepped out of the station into the bright afternoon light. The world outside looked too bright and vibrant after the gray of her confinement. Britt walked toward the harbor, her mind racing with options. What happens now? Rebuild her medical career? Confront ancient ghosts like her mother, Liesl? Or finally seek some serenity away from the chaos? For the first time in months, the burden of false charges eased, and she allowed herself a small, timid grin. Meanwhile, the repercussions of Brooke Lynn's confession were already spreading. Tracy Quartermain, the family matriarch, had guessed the truth for several days. She cornered Brooke Lynn later that evening in the mansion study, her sharp eyes cutting through any lingering resistance. "You foolish girl," Tracy screamed, with a trace of hesitant respect beneath the rage. "Framing Willow to keep chase? I taught you better schemes than that." Brooke Lynn wiped her eyes defiantly. "Grandmother, I did what I had to. For love." Tracy scoffed. "Love? This town thrives on secrets and betrayal, but blood is thicker. Fix it before Chase digs deeper. Or I will." In Carly Spencer's kitchen, another argument erupted. Lulu Spencer stormed in, furious at Carly's hidden partnership with Valentine Cassadine. "How could you, Carly? Sneaking Charlotte to visit her fugitive father? After everything he's done. Putting people's lives at jeopardy. Fleeing the police. Jocelyn's mistakes could have cost him his life." Carly stood her ground, arms crossed. "I did what I had to do for my daughter." Valentine helped Joss escape the WSB's clutches. Charlotte needed her father and was safe. "I am not sorry for protecting my family, Lulu. You, of all people, should understand that." The fight lasted well into the evening, with old wounds reopening. Lulu's protectiveness of her daughter, Carly's history of hazardous connections. Port Charles never let grudges go quickly. After a tense discussion at Anna Devane's door, Liesl Albrecht stormed away, demanding explanations concerning Spoon Island and her son's involvement in the current chaos. Moments later, Valentine appeared on the threshold, his lovely yet haunted look softening as Anna opened the door. "Valentine," Anna whispered, surprise tinged with old affection. "What are you doing here?" He stepped inside with caution. "We should talk. About everything. The past, the perils looming ahead." I couldn't stay away any longer. Their discourse became personal, revisiting alliances, betrayals, and unsaid emotions. Port Charles's network of connections tightened once again. Back at the Quartermaines, Chase sat alone in the lawn, gazing at the stars. Brooklyn's confession rang in his mind. He loved her, but his trust was shattered. Willow's face flashed unexpectedly, innocent amid all this, caught in the crossfire. Decisions loomed: confront the truth, defend his badge, or battle for his marriage. Britt, meantime, chose a peaceful bench near the lake. Freedom tasted bittersweet. She took out a borrowed phone and called a recognized number. "Mom? It's me. I'm out," Liesl said, her voice cracking with relief on the other end. Tensions reached a breaking point in Port Charles as secrets, betrayals, and unexpected successes dramatically altered countless lives. Brooklyn eventually found herself unable to bear the burden of her dishonesty any longer. After days of guilt and rising pressure, she acknowledged to her role in framing Willow. The confession stunned everyone involved. Willow, who had previously faced numerous trials and charges, was saddened to learn that someone she had trusted had contributed to her misery. The emotional conflict was tremendous. Brooklyn sought to explain that her acts were motivated by fear and desperation, rather than pure malice. She stated that things had gotten out of control and that she had never intended for the repercussions to be so bad. Her explanation, however, did little to alleviate Willow's and others' pain. Willow strained to comprehend the revelation. She wondered how many people around her had been hiding the truth, and whether she could trust anyone anymore. The treachery resurrected old scars and made her feel alienated. Friends and family members rallied around her, condemning Brooklyn's behavior and demanding accountability. Meanwhile, Brooklyn experienced the unpleasant realization that confessions do not always lead to forgiveness. Those closest to her were dissatisfied and enraged. Some thought she deserved a chance to make amends, but others felt her acts had crossed a line that could not be simply forgotten. Meanwhile, an unforeseen turn of circumstances altered Britt's destiny. After overcoming enormous legal and personal barriers, Britt was ultimately granted his long-awaited freedom. Many in Port Charles were surprised by the development, particularly those who had expected her problems would last indefinitely. Britt's release elicited mixed comments. Some were really glad to see her get another chance to repair her life. Others remained dubious, recalling her tangled history and previous mistakes. Regardless of the varied viewpoints, Britt seems ready to move forward and make the most of her newfound independence. Britt pondered on what she had lost and hoped to gain as she began this new chapter. The event had altered her, giving her a greater appreciation for second opportunities. She recognized that independence was only the beginning, and that regaining trust would be a far more arduous task. Brooklyn's confession has far-reaching consequences in Port Charles. Relationships were strained as people took sides and pondered the possibility of redemption. Some sympathized with Brooklyn's guilt, while others focused exclusively on the harm caused by her actions. Willow found herself the center of attention once more, but this time she was determined not to let others decide her future. Hurt and disappointed, she determined to advocate for herself and seek the truth in all aspects of her life. The treachery had hardened her resolve while inflicting enormous sorrow. Trust, forgiveness, and accountability were prominent themes in conversations around town. Long-standing friendships were tested, and latent resentment surfaced. Several residents were concerned that more secrets might soon emerge. Britt's freedom also opened up new opportunities. There was conjecture about whether she would rekindle old alliances or seek reconciliation with those she had wounded. Her return to a more normal existence promised to bring new chances and possibly new challenges. As the day came to a close, Port Charles remained a place fraught with uncertainty. Brooklyn faced the fallout from her revelation, unsure whether she would ever reclaim the trust she had lost. Despite her sadness, Willow remained determined to move forward. Britt relished her freedom while acknowledging that the road ahead would not be easy. The day's events served as a warning that secrets in Port Charles are rarely kept hidden permanently. The truth finally emerges, typically with spectacular and devastating repercussions. Even in the aftermath of betrayal and scandal, there is still hope for atonement, healing, and a fresh start. With emotions high and relationships on the line, Port Charles residents braced themselves for whatever hardships were ahead. One confession transformed everything, and one unexpected victory paved the way for an uncertain but hopeful future.